No. Well, now, fellow citizens, the current administration has shown exactly what they're about with the files they not really released. We know that. They have really gone full pre-revolutionary France. They are showing their contempt for all of us. I have some questions for you, my audience. First one is, which party has tried to shield criminals? The Republicans claim that the Democrats are the one who shield violent criminals, especially those who have guns and are, beg your pardon for some of my listeners here, I'm quoting directly from the sewage systems that our opponents and our country's enemies consider. They think that if they wave a picture of a nigger or spick with a gun before you, you'll run in terror and want them to, put their feet on the necks of that bad colored person. Oh, yeah. And make them say, yes, massa, again. That's what they think. You are really as stupid as that. But tell me this. When it comes to shielding such swine as child molesters, who's doing that right now? It's not the Democrats. If any Democratic fundraiser or office holder was found doing that, they'd be tossed to the pavement in seconds. You can believe that for me. Seconds. And what are the Republicans doing? Why, they're shielding them. And profane God's house. Again, a den of not only thieves, but thieves of childhood as well. And they are saying that God wants them to shield these criminals. These criminals who steal while they plaster walls with Leviticus 18:22, forget even about the rest of that chapter of Leviticus. Never mind the rest of the book, which says such things as treat the stranger as you would want to be treated yourself, welcome him because you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Yes, that is in Leviticus. No need to take my word for it. Check it for yourselves. Yes. I don't think they pay much attention to the rest of chapter 18 because it has to do with which females the Israelite adult males could, do the thing with, if you know what I'm saying. And I think too many of them are a little too fond of doing their female relations. But let that be as it will. I am only a scalawag on my daddy's side. But then again, we scalawags know both the class above and below us. We were sort of like the middle class in the Old South. We were the people who were willing to work with the freed people, and y'all Yankee carpetbagger transplants during Reconstruction above and below us. And it seems that both the classes above and below us are rather fond of doing it with their close female relations. But again, that's another thing, criminals, and saying some people are above the law. They're not saying it explicitly, not yet. And with the way things are, they won't get away with saying it explicitly. But they're trying to sort of, how shall I put it, sneak some rich white males to be above the law. The Democrats have never, ever done this. Second, why do we not Medicare for all in this country? One reason basically, anyway, racism. Because time and again, all y'all who have convinced that the people who benefit most from Medicare for all will be, again, those lazy niggers and spicks and natives. Not true. You will benefit at least as much. As a matter of fact, now that DEI has been decommissioned, guess who's also suffering? White males. At least white males who, like yours truly, have no real money. That's right. And finally, not finally, no. I want to ask you, how many of you have inside yourselves bought into what the planter class from even before the Civil War, even until this very day, has lied to us about how those of darker hue won't work unless they're standing under a whip? Not true. No. They are no different from you and me. And I think all of us would like to feel like we're making a contribution, you know? As a character in one of my favorite novels said, a minor character, but still a character. I mean, when two of the characters were discussing about the Depression, it's set during the early days of the Roosevelt administration. And one of them said, even if we don't need the money, regular work is important for psychological health. And the other character agrees with her, saying, is no good have too much time. Must have work. That's true of just about all of us. And if we don't have regular work, we try to make some for ourselves. I try to do that myself. How far I'm successful is a matter of debate, but then that's another matter. And the billionaires will tell you that the safety of your goods and wealth is tied up with theirs. No. Indeed, democracy necessitates that there be a limit on how much wealth can be in private hands. Do you want anybody or any small group to have enough so that they can, if we the people? No, we don't want that. I don't want that, and I'm pretty sure you don't either. But they'll try to convince you that the sanctity of their wealth, if billionaires are taxed out of existence, they'll try to convince you that you are next. No, you won't be. I think I can pretty well guarantee that. I'd bet my bottom dollar on it. For one thing, what they're busy doing right now is making sure that not you or nobody else can join them in the economic ionosphere, shall we say, which means they're doing all they can to give us a 21st feudalism. That's right. And feudalism will include the battled droit de seigneur, which means if they see your granddaughter looking remarkably attractive, they can sort of incline their head at her and say, come to my house tonight or else. Oh, yeah, that's what nobles used to do. And that's one thing the current crop of nobles would like to do. So, what do we need to do? We need to basically form one large working people's movement across racial, ethnic, religious lines, white, black, brown, red, yellow, Protestant, Catholic, Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, Sikh, and every ethnic group under the sun. We need to demand that we need to demand a truth in reporting law to put the right-wing lie machine out of business once and for all. We need to banish big money from politics. And we need Medicare for all. I myself would recommend a universal basic income, but I'm not sure about how it would be done. Anyway, I call on all of you, now that the current administration has shown the contempt they have for all of us who don't have real money of any and all colors, I call on all of you to organize and to remind our current aspirants to baronage what happened to most of those pre-revolutionary French nobles. Now mind, I'm not threatening anybody, but I think reminders of the fate of those nobles would do our current ones some good. And not to mention, these would-be nobles are human. Will you tell me that they are any less corruptible by wealth and power, which of course, wealth is power? Will you tell me that they are any less corruptible than any one of us, including the maker of this speech? I wouldn't. By taxing billionaires out of existence, don't you know that we save their souls? Oh, yes. We pull them back from the lip of the fiery pit where they walk right now. We pull them back from the edge of the precipice of hell. Oh, yes. We save their souls for them. Think about that. And think about the questions I've posed in this rather rambling address. I hope the questions are still clear, but just in case, let me restate them. First, which party is it that is shielding serious criminals from the administration of justice and paying penalties under justice? Second, do you or anyone else believe that the sanctity of the billionaires' money and property is tied up with yours? Don't. And third, what is there in yourself that might be called, well, to be frank about it, bigoted? I don't need an answer to this, but each of us needs our own answer to that. And we need to know also that this bigotry is entirely based on lies. Finally, it is said, Thomas Jefferson said, that in a warm climate, no man will labor for himself when he can make another labor for him. Maybe that should be put alongside of the must have work phrase. But if truth be known, maybe that attitude that no man will labor for himself when he can make another labor for him, maybe it's the making another man labor for him that corrupts both the compelled and the compeller. For both of us, puts a sort of, it almost puts a badge of shame on what ought to be honest and healthful labor. Think about that. We all need regular work for at least our own psychological health, not to mention our pocketbooks. But even if our pocketbooks didn't need it, we would still need and want some sort of regular job to keep us busy. So while it might be true that in a warm climate, you need to choose the times of day in which to do heavy labor, like say early in the morning or perhaps just at or just after sunset. Still, we all need that sort of regular work. And I suggest that that assumption is a much more useful one than the belief that everybody is trying to beat the system, because that's what billionaires do, what most of them have done throughout their existences. And thus they project that on all the rest of us. When most of us of any color, all we want is a truly fair chance. I think I'm right about this. If you think otherwise, feel free to say so. And I think I'm done right now. God bless you all. God save our country.